Welcome to Dear Romance Writer, where three writers who always deliver happily ever afters offer questionable advice for all of your relationship, work, and life problems. I'm Roan Parrish.
And I'm Xio and Roan. Avery has run off to lovely Scotland this week. How dare she? But we are here with the wonderful Priscilla Oliveras joining us today. Hola, Priscilla. How are you? Welcome to DRW.
Hola, I'm happy to be here. I'm excited. Actually, I'm in the same town as both of you.
We're all in Philly.
Yeah, so we're all coming to you, not live, but recorded live from Philly. So yeah. I'm excited to chat with both of you. Yay.
Yay. Tell everybody about yourself. And she writes amazing books, guys. So if you haven't read them, you really should. But tell everyone who you are and what you do. And
sure, I am my little bio. Let's see. I always feel like I'm on the spot and I know this, right? But so I'm Priscilla Oliveras. I write contemporary romance with a Latinx flavor. I'm supposed to say I'm USA Today bestselling author, which is always lots of fun. All of my books feature like familia themes. They're always a thread of my Latinx culture. My mommy's Puerto Rican. My papi's Tex-Mex from San Antonio, which is the setting for my new book that will have released just yesterday. So it's live now, print, audio, and digital at West Side Love Story.
I love that title so much.
Me too. The person
so good.
Yes.
It wasn't my original story. It just I knew like when I had the idea to write about an all-female mariachi band, and then as I just started doing what we all do, like what if, right? And and then I brought in like the Shakespeare aspect. If anybody out there hadn't realized, it is kind of my reimagining. I don't like to say retelling because it's a reimagining of Romeo and Juliet and West Side Story, but just so I was leaning into Romeo and Juliet, but then as I was doing the gentrification research in San Antonio, and I knew already I wanted at least the hero or the community center that the sisters all were raised at to be kind of like on the west side, or on the side where my papi grew up. The hero's house that he mentions growing up is on C Street, just like my papi's house was on C Street. And so as I was doing a lot of research, then I realized that a lot of where the gentrification is moving now, like it started more on the east, like Pearl Brewery District, but where it is now around UTSA and growing, and where I had already envisioned that the community center would be is more on the west side. And so just and talking with friends and my agent, they're like, lean into that, West Side Story. And so West Side Love Story just totally fits. So the names changed from like Romeo and Juliet variations to Mariana is Maria. And I couldn't do an Anthony and Antony because they live in San Antonio. So I could not have an Antonio living in San Antonio. So we have Angelo.
Nice. Did you know that the Spielberg film was coming out around the same time?
I'm trying to think of like when I first started, like when the idea first came to me, because it was a couple years ago. It was 2019. I had been thinking about it like early that fall, and then we had the first Latinx Rom retreat, like a group of us Latinx Rom authors. There I brainstormed the first two books and like a loose idea for the second one, like while we were all together. I can't remember but by the time I heard, I figured it was going to come out way before my book was, and then because of pandemic, it got delayed. So so kind of still maybe like about 5 months, 6 months delayed, but it's been interesting when people ask me about the two.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Fabulous. So I think people will really love it.
And I tried to leave a few little Easter eggs. Like I knew in my mind kind of what I hoped could, and then I just tried to don't force it, like let it come naturally. But there are like a few little lines or phrases here and there that are kind of nods to songs from West Side Story that I figured, well, someone who's familiar with the lyrics might catch them. Someone who isn't is just going to keep on reading like that's what they were supposed to say or think or
right. That's awesome.
My dad, when he was in high school, was in a production of West Side Story, and I think it was like the only play that he was ever in. And so anytime anything about it comes up, he has to say like, oh, well, I was in a production of West Side Story. It's like his one theater experience. So
I did three
Claim to fame.
yeah.
3 versions of West Side Story. The first time
Ooh.
I was in the chorus, like one of the shark girls. Second time I was Anita, and then the third time I was assistant choreographer. So I was like on
Ooh.
all different aspects. It's like definitely one of my favorite
Wow.
shows.
Wow. I think like I've talked when I've talked about this, the original, right? There are things we love. There are things that as a Puertorriqueña, like, you know, we cringe. With Steven Spielberg's, when I was asked, do we need another one? I don't know. That's not really I always say it's not my place to tell somebody you can or can't write something or write or create something, right? That's not my place. But so mommy and I did go to my whole family went to go watch it. Excited, but also nervous, like, how is it? And I will say that Spielberg, I feel like they did a good job with all of the characters across the board, right? Like they deepened characterization. At the very beginning, the sharks actually sing La Borinqueña, or like part of La Borinqueña, like the national anthem, and that's not in the original.
No.
So the use of Spanglish and Spanish without captions or subtitles, whatever, was. At first, I'll say at first I thought, oh my gosh, some people aren't going to know what they're saying, and then I realized, you know what? Neither do the other characters in the film, and so it kind of helps them really, understand that and the difference. But so we left like with the sense of pride, in the film, and like hearing the language and but still, I will say every time I watch West Side Story, I always have to rewind it to like G Officer Krupke or I Feel Pretty, or like I need to end on a happy note. And hence my version is a romance of where, yes, there are star-crossed lovers and there are feuding familias, but as a romance, they will find a way to get there happily ever after.
Yeah, I used to stop the film right before, like when everything was still good. But I love what they did with Rita Moreno also in the film. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it. But like I watched it again with like one eye closed because I was like, oh, I don't know how is this gonna, even though they had the casting and that should have been all that stuff. But I thought that they did a fabulous job. So
I did. I forgot about that, but yes, I loved the way they incorporated Rita Moreno into the original Anita in the 62 version, 61 version, and now this one. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of media stuff, it has been an absolutely disgusting week. The world is on fire. We kill people with guns. We don't care if people live or die. I hate everything so much. Have you all been watching or reading or listening to anything that is like distracting or uplifting, or like give me some piece of media to momentarily distract from the fact that our country is a farce?
It's been hard. Xio and I talked about this a little bit, about the need to, I had to put my phone on do not disturb, just to stop getting, messages and links and that kind of thing. Just to step away to reflect on myself as like, what am I doing? What can I be doing better? To, like you said, reflect on the world, because what is our country doing right now? But I did last night for dinner. I'm staying at my middle daughter's house, and they have, in Philly, like the houses are in the city anyway, like they're tall, right? So it has 4 levels, and on the main level, on the top level, I mean, there's a little porch out back. So I made dinner and I sat out there, didn't pour some wine, although I wanted to, but I still had work to do. And sat down with Angelina Lopez, her upcoming book. I have an early arc of After Hours on Milagro Street, and
I'm jealous.
It's so good. It's so good. And let myself do what we hope readers, enjoy doing with our books, but what I think our genre is, the beauty of our genre at times like these, read a romance that talks about, there's conflict, but they overcome it. And, like the genre, the literature of hope, as some of us like to say. So I let myself just enjoy my dinner, turn my phone off, and get lost in Angelina's book.
Awesome.
Nice. I think I've lost count of how many times I've watched Heartstopper.
I still haven't seen it.
I mean, I've read it.
Either.
I read the webtoons, and then when I heard that they were doing, I think I told you just before, Ron, but when I heard that Netflix was doing it, I grabbed the books because I wanted to get them before they recovered them with the actors. Not that I don't love the actors, but I wanted to get like the original.
The original.
Yeah, so I grabbed the books, and then I read them, and then I watched the show, and I was like, oh my God. And then I realized what a balm it was. It was kind of like back in 2016 after that debacle of an election. I think it was toward the end of the original season of Scum, or the original running of Scum. And it was the same thing. Like I watched some of those seasons over and over and over again. And I couldn't figure out why I kept going. Like I would just put it on, even if I was doing something else, it would just be on. And that's what I've been doing with Heartstopper. Like it's just on. Like I think Netflix is like, are you okay? Because in the morning, like I get up.
I know I'm binging too long when that thing comes up. Are you still watching? Or,
yeah. Well, at least they have the thing where they go like, do you want us to stop asking you? I'm like, yes, stop asking.
Yes.
So it goes on and it just stays on, and I work, and then it stops, and I restart it, and then they're probably like, I'm like responsible for 100,000 views. But it's one of those things where you go to your comfort reads or your comfort watches or your comfort listens, and I'm there again now, and I'm like, geez, like
that's what like, K-dramas have been for me. Like I'd never watched a full K-drama, just like snippets of it with my dad who watched them until the pandemic, and then just
not alone.
Now I'm totally hooked.
I watched one film because we have like a movie night that we do virtually, and I watched one film, and I was like, oh, if I get sucked down this rabbit hole, there's so many shows and so many movies. I was like, this could be dangerous. I'm gonna like just I can only eat just one. So
wow, that's good willpower.
But I watch Heartstopper nonstop. So
Roan, what about you?
Well, I totally get that thing of like wanting to rewatch a thing that is a comfort watch or read, because it's not just about like knowing what happens so you don't have to worry. For me, it's like I know exactly what feeling or vibe that will kindle in me, and so I need to have like a predictable vibe coming, and so I can't watch something or read something new when I need that, because I'm like, no, it needs to be to fit into a knowable thing. So I've actually been rewatching all the old seasons that are available to stream of Project Runway, which is a show that I love and have always loved. I've watched it since the very first season, but like you think of those shows as not having much like rewatch value, but actually now that I'm ancient, I don't remember shit. So I'm going back to these old seasons, and I'm like, I remember some of the people, but I'm like, I watched this like my first year of grad school. I don't fucking remember anything. Right. I don't remember who wins. I don't remember what the designs are going to be. And
who's going to backstab?
What?
Who's going to backstab or
exactly. So I've been really, really enjoying that. And it's very funny because, some of these are from like 2010, 2012.
Wow.
And the fashions obviously are not the same as they are. So it's really like this time capsule where nothing seems different. Like you wouldn't know that you have time traveled until the fashions come out and someone's like, I don't know about these drop waist or drop crotch trousers. That's never going to happen. And I'm like, it happened. So that's been my thing. And it's been really fun. And I've been very invested in it and really going hard on that.
I kind of wish that they had, and they might, maybe you guys know, but I wish they had, remember that show, I think it was called Trading Spaces or Trading Places. Where they used to like have the neighbors do
each other's homes.
Like I would love to see some of those old episodes. I don't know if they have them available.
I don't know. I don't know about that one in particular, but if you go on and look up like all the house shows, some of the channels like the Roku channel and all those have now like gotten rights to all of those. I found way more than I thought.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's a good thing to Google, to see. I love that. I always like working with the designers because I'm not a very if I have an example to follow or or something but as far as like designing and painting like in the house, I always said, you know what, if Frank came and gave me like a ball of twine and some leaves and I don't know, a couple other things and left me for a few hours, if he didn't leave me with either instructions or like something like this, you can vary it, but he's going to come back a few hours later and I'm going to be sitting there with a ball of twine and some leaves and so So I was always intrigued by just the creativity, and that they could do in the rooms or in the houses.
Yeah. Well, let's get to today's letter, which is a good one. And it's not one that anyone sent to us, which, those are the ones that we prefer. So we really want to hear from you guys, and you can reach us via our anonymous form at dearromancewriter.com or slide into our DMs on social media. We really love answering your questions, but this is a good one too. And this one comes from Jane's Good Advice. So says, the guy I've been dating for a few months asked me out on Wednesday for a date for dinner on Friday at 6 p.m. At 4 p.m. Friday, he called and left a voicemail that said he was very sorry, but he would need to cancel our date since some good friends of his came into town unexpectedly, and he was going to go out with them. He didn't mention if they were male or female, and didn't invite me to join them. I was very angry that he would blow me off for a quote unquote better offer and not invite me. I would never have done this to him. This is the second time he's canceled on me with a lame excuse. I sent him a text saying, quote, call me when you can fit me into your life, end quote. I haven't heard from him in 3 days. He's probably mad at me. Should I call and apologize for my snippy text? Signed, Angry and Confused.
Oh my.
Good one.
Faces.
Yeah, that is a good one.
I like this.
I don't have to go first, right?
No.
I guess I already told Xio, I'm like, I should be in the dating scene, but I have not. I've like tiptoed in and then tiptoed out over recent years. Recent years, pandemic, I've done nothing, but even pre-pandemic. So I feel like I'm a little bit out of practice. Well, I'm a lot of it out of practice. But so I'm intrigued by what both of you would say. I probably tend to err on the being too nice, which then means someone could take advantage of you. So that, that's not good either.
Yeah.
What's interesting, the most interesting to me is that, like, to me, this is really a question about communication styles, not about did this person do something bad or not? Because like this could go a number of different ways. I have to say, like, if I strip away the communication part, which is like the leaving of a voicemail and the text and stuff,
right?
I think if you've been dating someone for just a few months, but you have like really good old friends from out of town suddenly coming in for one night, I don't think it's unreasonable at all to reschedule a date that could happen at any night. And I don't think that someone you've been dating for only that long is an automatic invite to like a group hang with friends that you have a whole history with. So to me, like, if my girlfriend was like, well, I mean, we've been together for 2 years, so if she didn't invite me, I would be kind of like, what the hell?
Right.
But aside from that, like when we had only been dating for a couple months, if she had friends who like were like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I was going to be in Philly, but I am here, come hang out with us. And she called me and was like, sorry to do this, but, and then I would be like, oh my God, great. Go out with your friends.
Yeah.
That's so exciting that people that you didn't know were going to be in town are going to be in town.
Yeah.
Hope you have a great time. So to me, like the thing that he did is not, I don't find a problem at all. It's really understandable to me. I think the, leaving a message as opposed to being able to talk, maybe the tone was hard to read. And I have lots to say about her response and all of the assumptions that underlie it. But like, to me, I think starting with the event, to me, that's not a problem at all. What do you both think about that?
No, I'm with you on that. Just, it could like, level up a relationship that maybe it's not ready to level up, right?
Yeah.
Like letting
old
someone
friends
new into this inner circle is, could be a big step. Yes, it's not meeting parents, but it's still meeting people who like know you from, know you. Is kind of what I was getting from the letter. So I didn't think, we don't know, like, what was the previous lame excuse, right? We don't know that. So just right here.
Well, this isn't even a lame excuse. So like, this is a perfect. But if I am curious, because this is the second time and they've been dating for a few months. So like, I'm curious how far apart these instances were.
Yeah.
Or if it was like, this was like a back-to-back thing. Cause like, if it was a far apart thing, that she's, I think, or the person, I can't say, they didn't identify their gender, but they're overreacting a little bit here. If it was close together, I could see them being concerned, especially since they haven't heard from him in a few days, but that could all just be a response to that "call me when you can fit me into your life" text,
Right.
which, you know, is pretty harsh. There's no ambiguity there.
Yeah, and if this excuse is something that she considers not a good reason to cancel a date, then I don't trust that the other reason he canceled.
That's what I was gonna say.
You know, like that could also have been like, my mom's in the hospital, and this letter writer is like, boo.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. If she said with another lame, I by using that and maybe because we as writers we pay attention to like specific words, but like I wouldn't say this is another lame excuse, because I don't see this as a lame excuse. So if she's grouping them together, then then I would wonder, like, you know, you're using that word very subjectively. And
also this, I feel like we need a PSA that is an ableist term that none of us should be using casually, including this letter writer, but it was a quote, so we have quoted it.
Yeah, exactly. Also the line about not knowing if they were male or female friends, I thought was a little interesting.
Does that imply, I mean, to me, the only reason to mention that would be if this person was jealous. Like, about it, but other than that, why it doesn't have any bearing to me whatsoever.
I have to say, but I'm not in your face as well as maybe her personality is abrupt, but I would never have sent that text.
No.
You know,
No.
It goes back to communication, exactly what you said.
Yeah, that's a good to say.
How do you want to communicate in a healthy relationship, right? And being snippy at somebody because you're upset. We all do it, right? But especially in a text where you don't hear it, there, you know, you're able to use, you know, there's a subtext could be read into it that you didn't imply, but it's there nonetheless, right? So even if she meant it as like, haha, which I doubt it. I think I'm not surprised that the other person hasn't called back.
Yeah. I mean, if someone sent me, like, if I did something that I thought was totally reasonable and normal, and what I got back was something that the other person was clearly like really mad and expressed their anger in a passive aggressive way, I would be like, okay.
Red flag.
Yeah, total red flag. The fact that, and you know what I think bothers me the most about it is not that the letter writer says something that's kind of rude and antagonistic, but that she has gotten there by making like several assumptions that make it clear that she doesn't trust her partner, her boyfriend, and that she assumes the worst about him. And if she had assumed the best, then what she would have said was, or what she would have thought was like, oh, how exciting that this person that I care about gets to go do a fun thing. And the only reason that to not go that route, like, you either are assuming the best or assuming the worst, I think. And she has so clearly assumed the worst about him that I would be really insulted. Like, if my partner assumed that I was blowing them off, as opposed to acknowledging that I have multiple intimate relationships in my life, and some of them are friendships, and some of them are family, and some of them are romantic, like, assuming that, I would think, wow, this person really doesn't think very much of me. To add on top of that, the assumption that maybe if they're like a gender that he's attracted to, that he might go out and like that, like the reason he didn't invite her was to like have an affair,
hook up or whatever.
That's another layer. Then to not even ask a question, right? Like she skipped a whole phase, which is like asking any question that would explain anything. So she's gone past assuming the best. She's gone past the neutral assumption where you ask questions, and gone right to assuming the worst about the entire situation and this person and how he feels about her. And to me, that's like, that is a pattern that is gonna, that's not just this instance, that's gonna infiltrate every single communication, trust, intimacy. Like, that's a huge problem if someone just assumes the worst of you right off the bat.
That's why I was wondering how close together the two instances of him canceling were.
Right.
Because if it was like within the same couple of weeks or something like that, or the same, you know, who knows, then I could see being like, oh, maybe something's going on that I don't know about, but there's not that information here. And just like you said, her response is so to the, you know, it's like so to the one side. You're like, whoa, back up. I mean, I could see someone being like, okay, I thought we were more serious than we were, and he's not inviting me out to meet his friends. So maybe I'm not in the place that we're not in the place that I thought we were. Like, I could see that kind of a reaction, but that's not what I'm getting from this. I'm getting, like you said, jealousy and sort of pettiness.
Right.
It's like,
and honestly, the text could be pretty much a breakup, right?
Yeah.
A breakup text. So not surprising again then that the person didn't hasn't responded back.
He's probably mad at me. You think?
Yeah.
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 But I think, Roan, you hit on really good, I think, like the first thing you said, like communication, even like the steps that, the what is your outlook? And for this person, I would say, not just this relationship, but are you always jumping to the negative with other ones? Because that's then it's going to continue it's a pattern that will happen with your next relationship as well. Not to turn the other cheek repeatedly, but since we don't have, just based on the information we have, it doesn't seem to me that that would be the case, that he's always canceling. It's been only 2.
Yeah.
Especially because she explicitly says that his voicemail said he was really sorry.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, what more could
have
happened? What more could he have said? Right. Also, I don't know, everyone's relationship runs on a different time clock, but I feel like a couple months in, that's not like you hang out every single night, probably. But it's also, you've been together long enough that it's not like every date is you've planned it for weeks, elaborate kind of like courting date. So if it was just dinner, I'm like, people eat dinner every night, dude, go out the next day instead. Like this is, I understand it's the principle of the thing for her, but to me, it's just like such a non-issue that all I can read in her response to it is like deep insecurity, a lack of trust, and like real ungenerosity of assumption about his motives. And
like to me, I would think it would have been okay to say, oh, I'm disappointed that we have to cancel. Hope you have a good time. Maybe let me know if we can do something this weekend, right? If it was a Friday night, right? Let me know if you're, that kind of.
Can't wait to hear all about your reunion with your friends or something.
Yeah.
I do hope that, to answer her question, should I call? Yeah. Definitely call and apologize for your
I totally forgot about the question.
Yes, call. Yes, apologize.
I would,
have a chat, have a talk, maybe in person, have some coffee, tea, something, like sit down and talk about, feelings, like that's Roan's favorite. Roan is always telling people to sit down and communicate. So
I would say, before she calls, like think about, why was she so upset? Why what was underneath that anger? Like, was she hurt? Has she felt like, did it make her feel like she's more vested than think about where she was coming from and why, and what her role is in that, and then reach out so that, that she can have honest communication, not snippy communication.
Right. Definitely. And it could be just a leftover baggage from a previous dating experience that she had, that she's carrying into this one. It could be a number of things.
Yeah. And if she's carrying that, it would be good to talk about it now, as opposed to like later when bigger things are happening. And I love your idea, Priscilla, of saying like starting with the feeling, right? Like, I was disappointed. That's not a judgment. That is a neutral statement. Like I was disappointed. Sorry, I didn't get to see you. I think that I may have fill in the blank of what she's actually feeling. I felt like you choosing to spend time with someone else over me actually meant that you didn't really like me that much, or maybe it meant that you didn't value our relationship as much as I do, or maybe I felt like I liked you more than you liked me. So I had all these feelings swirling around, and I was sort of like, I was surprised how upset it made me. And it's not that I think you did anything wrong. It's that I have these feelings that it caused, like it catalyzed these feelings in me. And I'm sorry, I really overreacted. Can I ask some questions and can we talk about it? Like,
like Chris said, it's about the language that you use rather than saying you disappointed me.
Yes.
I felt disappointment or whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
I think that's, as writers, we're very careful about how it's not like, not a blame thing. It's this was my emotional reaction, just that's all on you. That's on you, personal.
And once you set the tone, I think, for the way that either negotiations or conflict goes down in your relationship, if you set it up well, then you
Right.
start establishing a pattern that will continue. Whereas if you set up that pattern badly and you like establish it in the beginning in a way that's negative, it is going to repeat every time because it's just so much, that's just what happens. So a couple months in, if this is the way that this person deals with conflict, especially because it seems like the partner is a different kind of communicator, like a more clear communicator maybe, and she's reading all sorts of stuff,
things into it,
in what he said, into the situation from her own feelings. Like she's just going to need, they're going to need to acknowledge, like, maybe we don't communicate in the same way. And so when I say this, I literally mean it. I don't mean all these things that you might read into it. And she can be like, okay, cool. But when you say things, I'm definitely going to read into them no matter what, because that's what I do. So let's just be really, really clear, which again, is why clear communication is always the way to go.
Goes back to communication. Yeah.
Always.
Not just for books, people, not just for books.
Oh my gosh, yeah, like the miscommunication trope in books is my absolute, I can't stand it. I hate it so much because I'm like, if this whole thing could have been solved by someone asking a single question or stating a single piece of information, like the whole thing falls apart. And I feel the same way in real life, you know, like it's too big a burden to place on one kind of like spindly little stilt. It's just gonna all fall over. And there needs to be like a deep level of communication underneath your relationship and about your relationship in order for it to stand firmly. And it is clear to me that this couple does not have that yet. And hopefully they can like use this to try to create one. But if not, it's never gonna work.
Right. And I think if, from, like you said, from the beginning, they need to develop that pattern of being able to be honest with each other. Because if not, right, if for whatever reason one person feels like they can't be honest or can't be, then, you know, that's just it's gonna fester. It's gonna, you know, and it'll come up and blow up at the wrong time, maybe, you know, maybe over a little thing. Right. But it's going to just keep building and building the number of times that you want to say something, but you know, for whatever reason you don't, or the other person, you know, doesn't, it's not good.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, good luck, angry and confused.
Yeah.
Was it signed?
Yeah. Angry and confused.
Oh, I hope I want to know what advice she got from like whoever she wrote the letter, or whoever she was asking for advice. I want to know if she took it.
Oh yeah, you know, I sometimes pull that, but I didn't pull it for this one. I'll have to find it. I'll DM you guys or something.
Awesome.
That's a prompt for a book.
Yeah. Totally.
Well, okay, so one of the times that I feel like usually is rife with potential conflict is holidays. And we are coming up on, in the US, what is apparently considered a holiday, although I did not actually know that it was happening until I just signed on to this chat and saw it. But apparently it's Memorial Day on Monday, which is a holiday. And we like food. I like food. Most people like food. How do you all, are you grillers? Are you like summer outdoor celebrating these kinds of holidays folks? And if so, like, what's your thing? What do you like to grill? What do you like to make? How does it go down at your house?
Well, I will say my son-in-law that who's married to the daughter whose house I'm at is an amazing cook. He's got a huge grill. He loves to grill fish and chicken and burgers and ribs, anything. So, but they're just getting back from a trip. That's why I'm here. So I don't know if he's going to be in the mood to grill or not, but I'm like, they get back on Saturday. So dude, you have until Monday. So we'll see. So we're either going to be grilling in the backyard, and they're good with like veggies, you know, hopefully some kind of like fish or chicken. Or if not, we might go catch the Phillies are in town. The Phillies have a day game and we like baseball. So
I know, I always see your photos from Florida. Priscilla's from Florida. So we always
So
have your photos down there with your
we're
barbecue.
huge baseball fans. Whenever it's baseball season and I get like invited to go somewhere, especially Chicago, because that's my team, to come speak or do something, one of the first things I do is check, is the baseball team in town? Can I maybe go to a game? So we'll probably do that. We have a good recipe that actually my daughter's sister-in-law just shared. It's like a watermelon feta salad.
I make that all summer. It is one of my absolute favorite things. Oh my God, so good.
That's what I'm thinking. Some watermelon salad, probably some ice cream. Maybe if I was going to go pick up a pint from Weckerly's so that we have it already in the fridge. It's good homemade ice cream. So good. Here in Fishtown, it's like a mile away. I was thinking, what if I went for a run and I just stopped at Weckerly's and then just walked home? So I might be doing that beforehand.
Cool.
But something like that. What about you, Xio?
Well, I know Saturday we're going to barbecue at one of Mr. X's friends' places up in Doylestown. I think we've been doing that actually for the last, well, not last year, but the year before that, maybe not the year before that either, actually. So I can say 2 years ago. It's been a couple of years. Yeah. So like, and we usually take dessert with us, and often we grab cannolis from Termini Brothers, which is here in Philadelphia. So if you guys who are not in Philly don't know Termini, they've been around for like 100 years or more. And they make amazing Italian pastries. My favorite are their cream puffs. I love them. So I always get like a little bag of cream puffs while we're in the car, only going up there because it's like a 45-minute drive. So it'll be like breakfast. But then like for the actual barbecue holidays that we have in the States, Memorial Day and Labor Day and 4th of July. Yeah, we tend to stay home just because it's the city and parking is crazy. So I'll grill, and we have a smoker. So if it's not too hot outside, I'll smoke like some ribs or something like that. But we'll grill chicken and fish. I like to grill pineapple. I think I might
I love it.
Grill some peaches this year, if they're in season. But yeah, we just I try to do like little grilling for two type thing, veggies and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we just sort of chill. But,
nice. I'm gonna have to, when we're done, I'm gonna have to write down, because I just heard of Isgro's pastries.
Oh yeah.
Last weekend I went to the Italian Market Festival, and Isgro's had a booth there. Oh my gosh, I ate so much delicious food.
Yeah, they have really good stuff.
But I haven't heard of that bakery, so I'll have to go.
Termini.
Okay.
And if you go, they used to give tours of the bakery itself. And the last time I was there with I usually I try not to go because it's not far from me and I would eat there every day. Okay. But when people are visiting from out of town, I'll take them there. And the last time I went, they were giving tours and there was this beautiful drag queen. I don't know why, but this drag queen was giving tours of the bakery. And so and she was like 7 feet tall in heels. And so we're like, cool, let's take us around. It's really, really cool. But it's very like Art Deco inside. It's a really cool place. And
I'll have to Google. I'll Google and see if they have specific tour times, because I've got another week here in town.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I will say you can grill watermelon for that watermelon and feta salad.
The steaks just
adds a whole new smoky element to it. Yeah, if you
I want to try that.
You can put it on the grill and it'll really just get those grill lines, because the moisture, it won't actually grill. Yeah. The moisture in the watermelon, but it adds like a nice smokiness to the salad.
I want to try that.
And I really like to put some mint in it then.
Right.
It's like
with
earthy,
mint and
sweet, savory. Oh my God, so good.
Roan's our resident chef. So
are you?
I love to cook. Yeah. I don't really celebrate any of these holidays. I hate the heat. And so being outside and then adding a machine whose only job is to create more heat is basically my worst nightmare. And I hate the military, so I don't celebrate these things personally, but I love having a day off, and I usually do nothing except have a day off.
I wonder if you go to the beach, or do you not like the beach?
I love the beach in the winter. I like the beach. I mean, it's enjoyable. I have like 25 minutes and then I mean, are you seeing the skin? I'm the whitest white. I have 25 minutes and then I'm like,
you're burnt. Oh
yeah. I'm also just like, I think I have an actual allergy to the sun or something. It's like the way some people feel about extreme cold, like your whole body shakes and you can't do it. That's what happens to me in the sun. If I'm out, I'm like, after a few, a little while, if there's no shade or
wow.
anything, I start getting shivers because I'm
You
just
might
like too
have an
hot and my
episode.
body's trying to cool
Wonder.
itself off.
Yeah.
It's disgusting and I hate it. But
Gosh.
yeah, but my sister my sister and her wife and their kid live in Manayunk, which is north of where I live in West
Okay.
Philly. And it's not far, it's like 6 miles or something, but
Mhm.
sometimes it takes an hour to get there because the
Mhm.
highway is
Yeah.
a total nightmare. Which means that like she used to live a few blocks from me, and so it's not as easy to go back and forth anymore. But we're having a sleepover this weekend. So Friday she's gonna come over and hang out with me and then sleep over. And we'll get up to, sistery things like midnight
fun.
margaritas and talking about how our parents damaged us, all that good stuff.
That's so funny.
And
Yeah, my daughter gets they've been, I thought maybe we might go to the beach, but they've been in Hawaii on their vacation. Like that's why I'm up here dog sitting my grandpup. So I was like, they're not gonna want to get back from Hawaii and then go to the Jersey Shore. So
Right. That's so
yeah, it probably won't seem that great.
Not quite the same. Yeah. So that's why I said, well, let's go to the baseball game. But I do have, speaking of like sisterly, I'm mother-daughter, but I've got some face masks and I was Googling how to make like a hair mask. So I think we're going to be having a spa night here Saturday or Sunday night too.
Nice.
That sounds so fun. Oh my gosh. Do you make like special drinks and snacks and stuff?
Well, they have she's got wine and she's got some pumpkin beer. And so but I like cava. So maybe we'll also pop a bottle of cava. I'm supposed to run to the store to get some for next week, for release week, which was yesterday while you're watching this, but
Right.
Awesome.
Well, we were up in Maine. We went to a cidery. We were the only people there.
That's awesome.
Like we walked in and the woman was eating her lunch and we were like, sorry. And she's like, no, there was nobody here all day. But I had this amazing, and I have to find the name of the cidery, but they had this cider that was mulled. It was like it's called apple pie cider. Oh my gosh. It has like mulling spices. It's so good. So I grabbed some and brought it home. It's so good. So
yeah,
I'll be breaking into that this weekend.
Is it canned, or you had to get it like in, like you get like when you go to a brewery and you can get like I can't
they had growlers. They had growlers.
Yeah.
And they were like, and you can refill them. We're like, this is a bit of a drive for us to refill them, but we'll get, they had like large bottles, but they also had cans. And so we got the cans because I'm the only one who's going to drink. It's a little sweet for Mr. X, although I did finally get him into cider. He liked the dry stuff. But yeah, so good. So I'll have to see if I can find it locally so you guys can try it.
Yeah, if there's a place, or if there's a place locally that would buy it for you if they could. I don't know how all that works.
There are some bottle shops, but I don't know if they carry. Like there are so many cideries now. Like I remember when I first moved back to the States, there were like none that I knew. Like no cider good ones, but like they're everywhere now. Craft ciders are everywhere, so that's my thing. I never got into beer, so cider's my thing. But yeah, that's what I'll be doing this weekend. Grilling a bit and drinking some cider.
That sounds like I could do that. I could spend a weekend doing that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Pris. It's been really awesome to have you. You know how much I love you. So,
I love the letter aspect. It's fun it's a different topic, so it was fun, talking about that and thinking like the different perspectives and how we each would have what we would have done or what advice we would give. So thanks. It was fun.
It's always fun. Yeah. Well, tell everybody again about West Side Love Story and where they can find you on the social media and where you might be, or just
okay. So West Side Love Story, it released yesterday. So June 1st, it is a reimagining of Romeo and Juliet with dueling mariachi bands and an all-female mariachi band. It's the two families are the Capuletas and the Monteros, and the Capuletas have 9 girls. They are foster sisters that have been adopted, and they're the ones that have the all-female. So there's a lot of familia themes. There's, like the dueling bands. It is book 1 in my Queens of Mariachi series. Book 2 is called Kiss Me Catalina. And it comes out, it's a Taming of the Shrew reimagining. It's November 1st, but you will meet. So Catalina is the second oldest. Mariana is the oldest Capuleta. Catalina is the second oldest, and her hero is Patricio Galan, an international mariachi heartthrob, and you will get to meet him in West Side Love Story as well. So you'll get to see, you'll get a little taste of Kiss Me Catalina along with Mariana and Angelo's star-crossed lover romance.
Love it, love it. And where can we find you on social media and all the things?
I am on social media way too much, but I am on Instagram, and I've kind of like dipped my pinky toe into TikTok. So there's a little bit there, and Twitter. And my website is, there are a bazillion ways to misspell Priscilla. So all of my social media handles are Pris, P-R-I-S, Oliveras, and that's the name Oliver and then A-S. So you can find me at Pris Oliveras on my website, prisoliveras.com. And same thing, my email. If you have any questions about my books or want to reach out, it's prisoliveras@prisoliveras.com.
Love it, love it. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks so much for the invite.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. Love hanging out with you.
Yeah.
Everybody, thanks for hanging out with us for another episode of Dear Romance Writer. Remember to send in your questions, your comments, your letters. We can't wait to give you some more questionable advice from this trio of happily ever after enthusiasts. We will see you next week.
Thank you so much for subscribing to Dear Romance Writer. Remember to keep sending in those letters at dearromancewriter.com. We can't wait to tell you what to do. Dear Romance Writer is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. Find more podcasts you'll love, frolic.media/podcasts.